Hail, hail, the Celts are here, and what the hell do we care now? We have now become the best team at not winning Champions League games. Who would have thought it? After all this time and preparation, all the hard work and dedication has finally paid off, and we've finally got the accolade that I guess we've seen coming over the last couple of Champions League campaigns, and a very bitterly disappointing, heartbreaking, typical bloody result again. With two stages in this group stage already gone, it feels like the writing could be on the wall. But, it is Celtic. And if we are going to do it, we've always got to do it the hard way. And I think we said as much on the channel when the draw was made that we're probably not going to do it the easy way. And if we are going to do it, it's probably going to be the hard way around. And next up after this, of course, we've got the double header with Atletico Madrid before the return games against Lazio and Feyenoord. But in the video today, we're going to be looking at really where the game was lost last night. What did we learn from the team? Who impressed? Who stood out? Who made an impact on this match? And really, what could we have done differently to maybe get a different result in this match and in the next set of matches that are coming up at any point in the video? If you do laugh, you learn, you like something, or whatever, please do like and subscribe to the channel. We're pushing for 10,000 subscribers and we cannot do that without your support, guys. Hail, hail, and let's just get stuck into it. Now, I do think the presence of Yang in the starting 11 definitely threw a lot of people off. I think most people expected Palma to come in and start this game after coming off the bench and scoring against Motherwell at the weekend, but it was Yang that was preferred, and over the time that Yang was on the pitch, 62 minutes in total, it was very clear that the team that the route to goal that we had laid out was Operation Yang. It was put this guy on the ball as often as possible at every opportunity to try and create something. And do you know, as much as Yang is one of the players that's been spoken about quite a lot in the post-match, let's say, post-mortem, I think the wee man did so well. I think he did as good as anyone could possibly do with still putting in a 6-5 out of 10 kind of performance. His opposition, the man he was directly against, Lazari, was an absolute engine up and down the line, and it was quite clear to see that we were going to try and get Yang in a 1v1 situation against him as often as possible. Whenever we were trying to build the ball out from the back and through midfield, every opportunity we could see Yang into space, he was going to be found, and we're going to try and put him in on these 1v1 situations and try and get us into these types of situations where we can use our width and try and expose this right-hand side of Lazio's defence here to try and get Dyson Maeda, Kyogo a bit more central along with the likes of O'Reilly to try and get something going. And Yang was put on the ball so much in the first half especially, and you were just dying for something to come off for him. And I think, for pace and for skill, and his passing, I think the guy is really good. He doesn't really seem to put a foot wrong very often, if at all. It just doesn't really come off, whatever it is he's actually trying. And for me, that is probably the hardest bridge of any professional footballer to bridge, that's basically what it means to go up a level, because with the ball at his feet, he doesn't lose control of it. If he tries to pass the ball, he was passing into some nice little channels, but just nobody was there, or it was the wrong pass. He just wasn't, you might call that a little bit of synergy, maybe needs to bed in with the team a bit more, but he has been here for a number of months. It's not like he's just arrived, and it just all felt a little bit, it was off. It was balls going into the wrong place. Or he just couldn't actually get around his man. For all the dribbling and all the kind of step overs and stuff that he tried to do, he didn't actually get by his man that often over the game. He did complete 8 duels out of 14, and he ended up playing 5 balls into the box, which was a joint high for Celtic in this match. But none of the balls, I don't think you'll remember any of them. Don't think any of them really amounted to much, if anything. And when they were played in, they were quickly dispatched and cleared away. And this Lazari was a real engine for them. And I can see why we did try and attack this, because quite often Luis Alberto was the main playmaker for them. And whenever we would attack down this side, they would look to try and get him on the ball conversely. And he was, I think, 3 or 4 times in the first half, he played a nice raking crossfield diagonal, and he could put it on a sixpence, as it were. And he was dropping it on for Felipe Anderson here. And if this guy Lazari was within, if he could see it, he was motoring up that line and trying to go on and support him as well. And that felt like Lazio's main route to goal in this game. So I totally get playing pacing behind Lazari here, and then just thinking about when on the ball, get it to Yang. Because if this guy's out of position, that could be some space that we could go and expose. And if Dyson Maeda's tucking inside, because I just feel this Hysaj, by the way, a few times I thought he was an inverted fullback, but it was more that just he was so tight because of the shape of the way everything was going, But everyone stuck to the plan pretty well, and normally some of the players in the Celtic attacking line, like Hatate, not necessarily Kyogo, maybe sometimes Dyson. Sometimes these guys can be a wee bit more selfish in some of these final third areas with their pass selection, but it felt like there was a real selflessness in the team that really did lead to the first goal ultimately. But we were very much Operation Yang, try and work the ball into the spaces for him and try and get Dyson in the box along with Kyogo as a second striker, as it were, and try and work that out. So that being said, he didn't do actually enough in the game. Like, I'm trying to, the thing with Yang is I'm actually really impressed with how well he did at the same time. Like I've said already, with him not actually doing much. He only completed 12 passes in this match, which for 60 minutes for a winger that was put on the ball as often as him is absolutely criminal. And he lost possession 16 times for us, which, again, I think that's not too far off. 3/4 of the time he was put on the ball, he lost possession for us, and then we were in a state of retreat and recovery. I think Greg Taylor was exceptional in this game. I think Hatate did okay without bringing his best game, but two of the main standouts for this game that I'm seeing everyone talk about is, of course, Liam Scales. And for as much as I think he really stood up to Champions League group stage at Celtic Park, and again, didn't shy away from the occasion, really stood up and was counted, and I think he was great, but I think he's getting a little bit too much praise for this performance. A lot of the times where he was sweeping these balls out and clearing them, particularly in the first half when he was getting the stadium up, is fine, right? But that's Europa League level, right? These centre-backs, if that's going to happen, I think it happened like 3 or 4 times, let's say 3 times in the first half, where the ball's been played down this line here for Anderson or for Lazari bombing on, Scales has read the play, came across, snuffed it out, put the ball into the stands, and then it allows the rest of the team to, get back into shape and defend a throw-in, as it were, right? That's fine out of 3 times if you do that once, maybe twice, okay? But a couple of those times, especially once he's got a rub of the green, the pace of the ball, there should be a couple of those times where he's putting his foot on it. Because he's smashing it, he's making a good connection. He should be able to kill the ball, control it, and play a pass. Statistically, he was captured for having 15 missed passes. A few of them will be these clearances that we spoke about. But I counted personally like 3 or 4, maybe even 5 actual just slack rubbish passes that were in and around this kind of space here. Normally quite short and ones that weren't that dangerous, didn't really lead to much, but he definitely turned over the ball a little bit more than what he does domestically, and I think you expect that, of course, in the Champions League. But I do think that these wee things are going unnoticed, but this is a little bit of, Scales' level kind of showing himself. But the thing that I have, I feel confident with Scales, as I'm sure the rest of the Celtic fans do, is he'll get better after this game and he'll have a bit more confidence going into the next ones. So he really did stand up. He was great, but I do think there's maybe a little bit too much praise coming his way for this performance, to be honest. The whole midfield was an absolute standout. I think, Hatate looked the part. He didn't shy away from it at all. Same with McGregor. These guys, stood up, got on the ball, went shoulder to shoulder with the second best team in Serie A last year. I know they're not started the season that great, but when you look at their actual team, this is an elite European team, and our midfield, man for man, looked better than their midfield, even as they substituted throughout the game and they brought different faces in. I thought our midfield looked better than theirs. And for me, the talisman of all of that was really O'Reilly. The guy played 90 minutes. He went box to box. He did everything. He made the assist ultimately for the goal himself. And he's getting huge performance after huge performance concurrently, week after week. I'm so glad we've just signed him to a new contract, because really the way he's performing now, he is untouchable. I likened him in his first season when he first came to Celtic as a De Bruyne, and it feels like he's really adopting that kind of mould of being the powerhouse playmaker in midfield, that if he's on the ball, we can be secure that he's going to do the right thing. He's not going to get his pocket picked. He likes a shot. He likes a pass. He's very selfless for the team, and he loves the occasion, and he'll give his all for 90 minutes box to box. He might not be rapid, but he'll cover every blade of grass, and he'll get the job done. And I think, clearly the midfield was a real huge positive in this match, but O'Reilly is, as I say, the talisman of that, the standard bearer, as it were. Okay, now that we've got that out of the way, let's talk about the subs, okay? Now, as much as, I'm kind of impressed with Yang with still being disappointed in what he actually produced for us, Palma is one of these ones where coming into the Motherwell game, you're thinking, okay, let's see what you can do. And other than his goal, didn't really do very much. And in this game, in his cameo appearance, I say cameo, he played like a third of the match. It felt like it was going very much the same way. I'm not too sure what it is, but it felt like we had to do so much work to put Palma on the ball. 1v1, he's happy to stand a man up, he's good for a dribble, and then playing a ball quite quickly thereafter. But it felt like he had a real fear to beat the man and go on a run, actually eat up yards on the pitch, get us higher up, and get himself into a better position to play a delivery that he's obviously capable of doing. It felt like whenever he got on the ball, in and around here, in transition and in the build-up, he didn't want it. He was giving it away and allowing the ball to circulate round so he could try and, allow the team to buy yards up the pitch so they could get into a better position where we could later find them and then try it again. But I've just got this feeling the guy can't run. I've just got this feeling that he can't actually kick on and actually go on and cover the ground, cover the pace. And, you know, in a counter-attack situation like any of our creative forwards have done and generally do, the only time he did is the moment that kind of became the goal, where he's seen an opportunity, he's covered ground really quickly, he's got in amongst it and played the shot. And I was so happy when that goal went in, and I thought, fantastic, the guy can run, he can shoot, he can score. We're 2-1 up, here we go, it is happening. The guy that we spent money on has come off the bench, he's wearing that number 7 jersey, he's celebrating, he's scored a goal. It's going to be a memorable one. Let's go, party time. And then obviously the VAR kicks in and it's needle across the record, a no-go. And I thought Paulo Bernardo, when he did come on, he looked comfortable enough on the stage. He was ready to come on, give us all for the team and try and push us over the line. He was very brave on the ball. The couple of occasions he did get on. And like I say, he looked like he'd played Champions League football before. And that's the sort of thing I've been really looking for and asking for the club to make sure that they do, is bring in guys that can add to the squad at this level. And I feel that for what Bernardo did in the match, what he was asked to do, he could have done a little bit more, he could have been a little bit better, of course, but he definitely didn't hinder us, he definitely didn't hold us back. And I do feel that, you know, especially in the first 5 minutes he came on, he did look really at it. Lazio didn't really know what to do about him, and out of that little bit of chaos, something could have happened quite early on, and he could have got his own little headline. Ultimately, I think a picture paints 1,000 words, and I think the scores on the ratings for the performances here for the Hoops is kind of where it was at for this game. Close, but no cigar. Not quite enough in the final third in terms of chance creation, actual touches in the box, shots on target, that kind of thing. So, you know, it's one of those ones, if you don't shoot, you don't score. If you don't create the chances, you don't get them. But we are at the finest of margins when we're talking about this, because I do feel that we had a good game plan. I do feel that we were good on the ball. And I do feel that overall we were capable of getting a result in this game. And that's one of the things, again, as Celtic fans, I think is too often confused, is being capable of getting a result and deserving a result. You know, if we took a few more shots, we put the ball in the net maybe an hour time or two, we could definitely feel a bit more hard done by. I don't really feel too bad about the goals that were conceded, to be quite honest with you. I think the first one, what can you really do about that? You've got a man on the post, you've got your goalkeeper diving towards it. It comfortably crosses the line, but you know, that's just football. Set pieces happen. You can prepare for it. And it's just one of those goals you've got to kind of move on from. The one at the very end, the winner, you know, because Cameron Carter-Vickers comes on as a sub, he is going to raise some attention around his involvement in the goal, stepping into the crowd to try and clear the ball towards the end of the match, just trying to deal with it, be the enforcer. I totally get it. Obviously, it's not worked out and it's ultimately backfired. But again, I don't feel too bad about that goal conceded. Like, I'm not breathing fire and talking about the goalkeeper or we need more. I think they kind of did fine enough. We just, especially in that first half, that first 60 minutes, those chances with Yang, if any of them become a little bit more fruitful, we get another 2 or 3 shots away in the first half. We hit the back of the net once or twice more. This game then becomes a totally different, you know, sliding doors, butterfly effect kind of situation. And I think it would have been a famous victory overall. So I think for you know, gambling on going cheap with a lot of the transfer strategy, I do think that we're not really that far away. And like I mentioned with Yang, I'm really struggling to kind of put it into words, but I think that we are really onto a big player with him if he can bridge that gap. You know, the frustrations we had with him, if he can bridge that gap of what he's missing, I think he could be frighteningly good. I really do. I've seen this quite a lot with some players across Europe, in world football, for the last 3-4 years or so. And it's when they're missing that little bit that Yang's missing. If they can cross that bridge, they can make that jump, then they really level up and they really become a special talent. So, you know, I do have some good stuff to be happy about and excited about. And I do think for the doubleheader against Atletico Madrid, hey, we're going to do things the hard way. We're Celtic, and what a better hard way than El Cholo Diego Simeone's Atletico Madrid. I hope you enjoyed this one, guys. I'm looking forward to catching up on the comments section, and I look forward to catching you on the channel for the podcast, the preview for the weekend against Kilmarnock, and, you know, everything else in between. Hail, hail, and catch you on the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.